Aura Martinez, thank you for joining me on the Listening Beat. You are a TEDx speaker, author of Creating a Lifetime of Wellness, featured in Psychology Today, and an empowering self-discovery coach. Your story is truly inspiring, how you went from overwhelm, frustration, and confusion to creating a life of alignment and love and clarity. I'm so excited to listen to you and your wisdom today and share it with our audience, especially around building a better relationship with ourselves so we can live a life that we love.
Thank you for having me here for this podcast. Such a beautiful work.
Thank you for being here and sharing your knowledge with us today. My first question is, what is the number one thing every young leader should know about creating a life they love?
Yes. I think the key to living the life that you want to live is you knowing yourself, knowing how you function, what works, what doesn't, because that's where everything starts. There's no way that you could be a grounded leader and a real leader if you first do not lead yourself. So this is why I say that it is so important that you get to know you, because everything starts and ends with you.
It does. That's an extremely powerful statement many people miss today. Knowing the little things about yourself, about when your energy drops during the day, when you're best, like that's something so many people take for granted.
Oh, yes, most definitely. When we don't know ourselves, we tend to fall for things that don't go with who we are. We make decisions we regret, things that take us out of alignment. This is why it's so important to know who you are, how you function, what makes you feel good. If knowing yourself is a challenge, ask yourself why. I find, and I'm very guilty of this too, if you don't mind me sharing, this is why I advocate the importance of getting to know yourself. We behave based on our layers. What do I mean with layers? It can be conditioning, a limiting belief. It could be what you have been taught, right? Cultural beliefs, societal beliefs. For a very long time, I had low self-esteem. I didn't show it. It didn't seem like it, but yes. How do you know when you have low self-esteem? One of the telltale signs is the decisions that you make. When you settle for relationships that are not good for you, guilty. When you say no, when you want to say yes, because deep down you don't feel worthy. If you don't feel worthy, if you're not confident, if you don't feel like you're enough, all of those are cousins. When you notice you lack self-esteem, any wound will create another micro. For so long, I used to hate a part of myself. It was my hair, because my hair is naturally curly. I never understood why until I went deep down. And it was a culture and societal conditioning, because for so long, we've been taught all curly hair is bad hair. And that does to a woman's self-esteem. The reason we share that story is because to the degree you do not value yourself, that you think you're not enough, I promise you that doesn't come from who you really are. That is learned.
Yeah.
And so it's when we start peeling those layers of who we think we need to be, of what we think we need to do, that we start being in alignment, one line with yourself, one line mentally, one line emotional, right? Because you want to make sure that everything you're doing is coming from a pure place, because that's who you really are. Everything starts with us.
Many people need to realize we have to dig deep down and, 5 whys, like, why am I feeling this? A lot comes from societal expectations and what our friends say. Even if it's a tiny comment we brush off, it really hits us. So thank you for sharing that. You talk so much about self-connection and the importance of that. I'm wondering, what are some ways that we can use our time better to focus inwardly instead of seeking things outside of ourselves?
A great question. I do it first thing in the morning. I recommend if you gotta wake up a little bit earlier, do so. But give yourself that moment where, as you're drinking coffee, you're just there meditating. Just meditate. Journal. I'm a big journal. I just made up a word. I don't know if journalers work, but the whole point is there is value in writing down your thoughts, what's on your mind, your aspirations. You get answers you never thought possible. And if you feel uncomfortable sitting with yourself, ask yourself why, because there's a reason why. So one thing very interesting about pandemic, a lot of people after pandemic, they realized they didn't feel good being on their own. I think for so long we have been conditioned to be around people, finding ourselves with people. Yes, some people are naturally extroverts. There is value in giving with you and your thoughts. So to me, my suggestion, find a time during the day where you're not doing anything, you're not there for anybody else. It's just without looking at your phone, without looking at the computer. Respect the space that you're in, whatever when I say that, this is what I mean. Allow whatever's coming through your mind, whatever you're feeling. So many times we tend to gaslight ourselves because this feels uncomfortable. I don't want to think this. No, no, I'm supposed to be thinking positive. I'm a big advocate too of feeling all your emotions. What you don't want to do is live from your emotions.
Yeah.
There's a big difference. You don't want to live from your emotions if the emotions can become toxic over time because you're living in a state of being. Allow yourself to feel the emotions long enough to understand the message that emotion has for you. Everything you're feeling is for a reason. I remember when I turned 30, I hit a wall of frustration and I had my sexiest body ever. I weighed 112 pounds. I went from 144 to 112, okay? Looked my sexiest, traveled the world, went to places that I never thought I would go to. I was in my favorite country in Italy. They gave me one of the nicest rooms, a mini apartment. And I was frustrated. As I walked the streets in Rome, one big mistake that we can make is that we think that because we have it all, we don't have any right to feel frustrated or discontent. And I am so glad I sat with that frustration because you know what, that frustration guiding me towards what I'm doing today. The reason why you never want to ignore any message that your inner being wants to tell you is because messages can be redirection. That frustration can be redirection. Anger can be redirection, right? Because a lot of times when we feel anger is because a boundary has been crossed. So just pay mind to everything you're feeling.
Yeah.
All of it is valuable information.
I love that. I love the idea that, everything we feel, it's valid. And
Oh,
we
yeah.
have, yeah, we have a right to how we feel, even if we have everything in the world. So many people take that for granted, for sure. I also love your idea about meditation, where people think that meditation means you have to sit down, close your eyes, and focus on your thoughts, your breath. But it can also be being mindful, eating a meal by yourself, no phone, not multitasking, which I'm also guilty of, and so many people my age are now. So I love that. I love that idea. Thank you. And then also, we were talking about how so many people, we pour our energy into things that leave us drained. So, what's one powerful mindset shift you've used to reclaim your energy and protect your peace?
I had to learn the word no. I'm not going to lie. There was a point where I was a people pleaser, where I didn't want to disappoint others. I wanted to, and all that at the end just left me drained. So, how do you fall in love with no? Ask yourself, how do you want to feel at the end of the day? It feels miserable ending my day knowing I just says yes to something.
Mm-hmm.
A horrible feeling.
Yeah.
I got to start with the end in mind. How do I want to feel? What do I want to say that I could be proud of at the end of the day? If that makes any sense. When I remind myself, okay, how do I want to feel? Another mindset shift, I like to sit with things in my body. I give myself a moment and imagine for just one moment, how does it feel making a certain decision? But I make believe I really made that decision. How does it feel in my mind? How does it feel in my throat? How does it feel in my heart? How does my body feel in general? The body has a wisdom beyond what we could imagine. Anything that makes you cringe, feel exhausted, that is automatically a no.
Body's intuition.
Yes, but really scanning yourself, like really scan, how does this feel? And if you don't feel excited, that's a, if saying no to things that are really a no for you is hard, ask yourself why. You're going to understand who's in the driver's seat of your life and why that person's in the driver's seat and what that person needs. For example, for me, whenever it was the people pleasing part of me that was in the driver's seat, what I was seeking was validation. Now I have to validate myself. See, the things that we look for outside of ourselves, we have the capacity to provide it for ourselves. So whatever you seek outside of you is seeking it from within.
I love that. Do you have a specific example
A specific example of
with relationships?
how to say no or
Or
feeling.
like if you're seeking something on the outside that you really need to have in your inside and be okay with that. I know that I've been guilty of doing that, and I'm sure other people need some ideas. So, of course.
The perfect example, and I'm going to utilize myself as an example as well. If you feel the need, once upon a time, I was in need of a relationship. And I say this with so much love. Anything you desperately need, that's not where the answer is. For me, it was twofold. It was the one because I didn't feel enough. So part of me felt that it was a man that was going to validate me, right? And then cultural, because I would have people asking my parents, oh, so when is your daughter going to get married? I share that because it's important that anything we want, we truly investigate if that's something we really want. Right?
Right.
Because sometimes allow other people's pressure to pressure us so much that we don't know how to differentiate what's truly our desire and what's someone else's desire. Yes, I did want a relationship for the future, but not that red hot moment.
Yeah.
And so this is peeling those layers, creating a lifetime of wellness. I discussed several areas of a person's life. It seems like I'm going on a tangent. I'm not. It all starts with you and understanding you, because the more you know you and peel the layers of, is this what I truly want? Where's this coming from? Is it that my parents told me that by this age I need to have this? When we peel all of that and we're left with who we really are, that is the key to happiness. That is the key to living your most purposeful life, because then every decision that you make will feel right. Because every decision that you make will come from you. You're going to understand the truth of who you really are. If you are around energies that are very different from yours, when you know who you really are, you're going to know how to separate the two and be like, oh, okay, I feel for that person, but that's dumb. That's not me. This is why getting to know yourself and doing that work within and removing all the gunk, I'm telling you, it is key. And that's part of you having that healthy relationship with yourself.
That's amazing. Immediate download. Awesome. You're right. Especially at my age, I've seen this. So many girls, they're all like, "Oh, I really want a boyfriend." Maybe because their friends have had them or want them. It's in the background, not what they truly want. What they truly want is different for validation, and they have to go deeper and figure out why. Amazing advice, especially to our generation. In your own transformation and experiences, once you shifted your inner self, how did it affect your outer environment?
Oh, yes. I saw its effect immediately. I saw changes in my business. I didn't want to show up online. I didn't want people to see my face, but the times that I did show up online, it wasn't the lively me. It wasn't real me. It was almost like a rundown. The moment I was able to see myself, the way the universe sees me and how amazing I am, these words that I'm saying, these are words that anybody listening to this, turn it to yourself. When you see how amazing you are, you show up differently. I started showing up differently online, more often online. My peers were even telling me, oh my God, there's like a shine to you. What happened? There's just something to you. I was able to see myself for who I really am, not some distorted version based on what others thought of me.
Yeah.
I don't tolerate a man that does not appreciate me. Bye, Felicia. When you see your value, what you bring to the table, you don't mind getting up from that table. If that table isn't serving you, I showed up differently online and started making more money in my business. Once you do that inner work and something clicks within you and you're confident and know who you are, it's as if you draw to you the things, the people, the opportunity, the clients, everything starts coming to you.
Like a magnet.
It's a powerful magnet, but we are magnet. It's not so much what you attract that matters most. It's what you, all of us attract good and bad, because the more positive, the more of a light we are, people may not be in the same frequency, but they're still drawn to you. Someone cheerful, that is happy, that is this, is that. They're very attractive. They're very appealing. You're going to feel drawn to them. And it is up to you to be like, well, I'm going to, but no, not in my personal space. I'm going to create boundaries, right? And so I find that lack of boundaries for yourself and for others, because there's times that the reason why there's a lack of boundary in our life is because we are allowing anything and everything. And that also has to do with our own self value, right?
Yep.
People that don't enforce stronger boundaries, I've noticed that a lot of self-worth issues. This all goes back to what I said before. Everything starts and ends with you. The more we heal and work on ourselves, the more our cup can be filled on many levels, and the more we can give to others.
I agree, and I completely love setting boundaries is what allows us to filter out the bad energy pulling us down versus the good energy that's filling us up. I absolutely love it. And when it comes to physical and digital changes, what would you suggest to feel more aligned with higher energies?
Social media, oh my gosh, this is and I even made a reel a few years ago. Be mindful of what you listen to. You want to be mindful of what you follow, because all of that affects the way you think, the way you process things, it affects your belief, right? Just be mindful of who you follow. Now, I'm going to say this follow things and people that are uplifting, right? I'm a big believer that what we follow is a reflection of ourselves. Think about it. There's certain people and certain things that I don't follow because they don't align with my values. They don't align with where I'm heading in life. That's another way too to get to know yourself more. If you don't know what you value, look at what and who you're following, because that's going to tell you a lot about yourself. Now, if you're not sure what your values may be or what you may like or whatnot, follow and listen to things you aspire to be or you aspire to, I don't know.
Yeah.
This is a programmer and we are mindful of that.
I completely agree. I love your points and the idea of, you know, follow who inspires you and who you want to become. Because so many people, like right now, we're just watching brain rot or just scrolling on reels, watching other people's lives that, you know, and it's different from, you know, watching someone's life you're jealous of or envious of.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. So let me just say this envy and jealousy, they're indicating to you. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. Now, it's bad when you act on it or when you live from that state. Because what those emotions, what jealousy or envy is letting you know is that you're watching or that person has a quality or something that you would like to have. So anytime someone triggers me, right? This is what I do because I love triggers. I didn't like it before, but I love it now. Okay, what is it about this person? I'm literally looking at my phone now. What is it about this person that makes me feel this way? What is it that I like about that person? Oh, I admire the fact because envy, believe it or not, it may not seem that way, but it's secretly you admiring a certain quality or something of that person. So that is your invitation to see, okay, how can I invite that into my life, my style?
Your style. That's key because some things we
Yes.
can't change, like hair and other things, but your style, I love that.
Sometimes we envy people's qualities because they're positive. So if you envy it, a part of you desires to be positive. So rather than wasting your time living from that state, sit with that envy or jealousy and be like, what is it about that person that makes me feel like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. Because if you sit with it, you're going to realize I envy you. I feel this way because deep down, I wish I was like that. So then how can you be like that while still being you? That's the thing. Now, I'm going to say this in regards to hair and physical aspects. To me, the physical aspect is the easiest to manipulate. It's the easiest to manipulate. I could go right now, pay surgery and get some changes. I can go to the salon, have the straightest hair, or go to you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The most challenging thing is changing this, the mind, and changing this, the heart. And so, anytime someone triggers you, someone's success makes you feel uncomfortable, don't run away from it. And you don't have to, because I'm gonna say this. One of the biggest mistakes people make is they say, "Oh, I gotta follow this person because they're triggering me." No, allow that trigger to transform you. That person is there to teach you, to help you up a level. No one is here to downgrade you. Everyone is here to up level.
I love that. Wow. So, so powerful and important for our generation. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. That really hit me hard, and I'm sure that it'll hit our audience and listeners hard. And my last question is, you know, you've given so many amazing tips and priceless information from everything you've created. You know, your past experience, you had a lot of overwhelm and book, coaching, and personal journey. What is one simple like activity someone can try today to start building a better life and relationship with themselves?
Of course. Of course. Ooh, there's so many things I can say. But I'm gonna say this, and I know it will sound like a broken record. People have heard it before. I'm telling you, this is just a journal, a notebook. The reason you want to start having a journal, and I will start from there, is because all the answers that you're seeking, they're within you. And when you give yourself time to write down your thoughts, you will discover that the answer you need is already in that paper. When you're writing it down, don't look at it right away. Wait a day or two, or when you're feeling differently, and look it over. Because what you will find is that everything that you need, the answers to what you need to be doing, the person that you aspire to be, the key to you building a better relationship, believe it or not, is there. Because also the other purpose of journaling is you're letting off steam. I find that a lot of times people feel very overwhelmed because they have so much inside of them built up. Let that journal be an outlet. Let that journal be an outlet.
I love that. I think many people think, oh, I don't journal. I'm not a journaler. I've tried it. It doesn't work. But they see it as a task and not an expression or outlet of, anger, sadness, happiness, like you say.
Record yourself. Record yourself, because the point of that is this. To me, there's several purposes to a journal. One, you're letting off whatever is inside you because you don't want anything building up within you. That's number one. Number two, you gain insight. Everything is the way we perceive things. I hope you don't mind me sharing this. My journal is over there. Otherwise, I will show you. But how I journal, if bonus, everyone, bonus.
I love it. Yes.
The more you practice journaling, you will start getting downloads, and you will realize that those downloads is your inner being speaking to you. So when that happens, after I write the downloads, I actually have several highlighters. I also have a green one. The green one, the light green one, I highlight whatever that came from my inner being because I know that was my higher self. This color, I make it fun. Oh, I make journaling fun.
I love
Is whatever I know that I cannot afford to forget because it's an answer that just came up. This color is in case something comes up that can be a podcast, interview kind of topic or whatever. I am telling you, this is gold. That journal can be your best friend. If you're not a writer, again, record yourself, right? And then another day you listen to it because you will gain insight and you will understand a lot about yourself and the way you think.
Wow. Beautiful. I used to be the person too that was like, oh, I tried journaling and it didn't work. But then whenever I realized, what you say, you make it fun and like a connection with yourself. It's like you're FaceTiming a friend or you're talking to a friend or texting, except it's to yourself and you're deepening your relationship.
Yes.
I love it. This has been such a beautiful conversation. And I just want to thank you for reminding us we're the common denominator in our life. We'll have us for the rest of our lives. And that's
Yes.
the most important. And that if we build a strong relationship with ourselves, then everything around us changes. It starts with ourselves and with journaling and connecting. And I know that you have so much more valuable information. I've been binge watching your YouTube video. So if anyone listening wants to learn more, right, they can visit and follow you on Instagram and visit auramartinez.com, your website. I'll link everything in the description below. Everyone should check out your book, Creating a Lifetime of Wellness, and your journal. And to close out, I'm Beatrice, and this is The Listening. Let's keep taking back our time, energy, and environment, and keep building the life we love. And thanks to Miss Martinez, I can start doing this now too.
Thank you.
Yeah.